Alrighty, hello and welcome once again, Ashes fans. Today I'm casting a 2 versus 2 match. I just casted a 3v3. It was a really long game, so I'm a little exhausted from that, but does not matter. The battlefield fills me with energy, and the battlefield for today is Trappist. Now this is an interesting map. I made this one, and I made it designed to be very flexible, and as you can see, it's a left versus right battle that we have here. But you can play it as a 3v3. You can play it as a free-for-all. You could play it as a 2 versus 2 versus 2. You can play it as 1v1. You can play it whatever you want. It's actually based off of the DEF CON map in 0 Hour. I did take some inspiration, some of my maps from different RTS games. So I think it's a nice map, but let's go ahead and introduce the players. Spawning at the top left, playing as the purple substrate creature of existence. He was the MVP of the last game, having an absolutely crazy quanta income of 30, having juggernauts as well, the late game that wrecked face. I also love his Steam picture, the black dragon from Heroes of Might and Magic 3. I've been playing a bunch of that lately, and like, man, that game is good. It's so pretty as well. It's because like those old 2D games actually age really well. It's the early 3D games that look funky when you play them later on. But Creature's teammate will be Bradley ATG as the red PHC. And on the other side of the aisle, the gray PHC, camouflage into the snow and the ice, Chronopolize teaming up with the blue substrate, in fact. That is Astral Matrix. So this is a very resource-heavy map. So earlier I was saying it can play as a 3 versus 3 map, and you know that would suggest that there is enough resources for 6 players, and indeed that is the case. You have resources throughout the middle. You have an extra spawn location, which is going to have a quadruple metal region, which is very valuable. And the middle is this is Cache City. This is a nice place to retire. This is like where you'd want to raise a family. You know, you've got a lot of metal, a lot of radioactives, you've got a Turinium generator. The issue, however, is just really exposed. It's purely open, so you can't funnel your opponent into choke points, and you know, good luck actually holding that. So there's a couple of maps in Ashes that where you would look at them and you would think like, wow, this region is so overpowered because it has a lot of resources. But just because it has a lot of resources doesn't mean you can necessarily get them. Another map is Espana, which is a 1v1 map. It has a similar thing in the middle. I think it's 4 radioactives deposits, which is insane for a 1v1 map, but just they're so exposed, which kind of offsets that. So all of our players capping out pretty quickly, but I suppose Creature is the exception. Now, Creature has a bit of a funky play style. He tends to play a bit more defensive, a bit more economy centric, which works in big maps, as we saw last game on Talitha. On small maps, however, it can be a little bit more difficult, at least in that short term. It's a pretty small map, I suppose. You know, it's medium sized, so it's kind of average. It's small in comparison to a map like Talitha, so Astral Matrix may just run all over him, and especially if Astral can get this northern position, because that just has so much cash in there. Triple radioactives as well there. That's a really valuable region. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. As for the south, Bradley versus Chrono, I mean, that's going to be a pretty tense matchup. Both very, very high-level players. I think Chrono perhaps being a little bit ahead. Double Air Factory, or Sky Factory. So he's going for Hades early, but it seems we have the same for Bradley. But he actually went, rather than a double Sky Factory, he went for an advanced Sky Factory, going for the Air Marauder. So that's better single target damage, better versus cruisers. But Chrono's just going more Sky Factory. He says he's going to be able to just outproduce him. I need to actually log off of Steam. I always forget to do that, just so pop-ups come up in the top left corner. So it is Chrono going for the middle, the Turinium. Nice region to have. Let's see if he can hold it. I mean, he actually has all his production nearby, so it's a pretty all-in strategy in that regard. Is, if I hold the middle, great. I can hold the middle because I have my production nearby. But if he loses this position, not only does he lose the Tritium, but he also is going to lose a lot of his production. Double armories. Even his sky factories are pretty far forward, so I guess playing to the map, not a bad idea. Well, Chrono's gone for some really aggressive harassment here. Is taking out one region here, 2 metal extractors. Is looking to get the radioactives too, but there is an Avenger on the hunt. The Avenger picks off the Archer. So it's really cool to just send out lone frigates because you can just capture regions, or at least decapture them. That's why Hermes can be really good for that. And I think that's what his plan here was to just try and capture some once the Avenger showed up. Wasn't that successful though. Maybe he took out those metal, I'm not sure. The middle position looking pretty strong. You know what I actually should do? I should turn off the icons. It's better when you're casting. I have these off on my PC. Where is it? Disable world icons. Does that do it? Yeah, that looks a lot nicer. From a casting perspective. Like from a playing perspective, it's really useful to have those icons because it tells you what's what at a far distance. But I think just visually it looks a bit cooler not having the icons in place. Income is pretty much similar for all the players. At least metal income, that is. Double Marauder. This is a great air army for Bradley. He's going to be able to take these out. There is one of the Atlas frigates, however. Medic's also going to make it a little bit harder. Medics are really good in small situations. Like when you have, a handful of medics against a handful of air units. That's where they really shine. The army does get cleaned up though. I suspect we have a lot of Furies. Only 2 of them being built at a time, but Bradley has to make sure he doesn't get overwhelmed with Furies. Have some ground-based support, but he has actually got the bottom peninsula. Well, not a peninsula, what is it? Just a high ground position. So he's offsetting the fact that Chrono has this middle. I mean, he has extractors. They will get picked off though. Some of these are pretty safe. The Tritium income does give you an extra 5%, but this is a lot more secure. Plus, you can also build Tritium amplifiers. So you have these regions. You can put amplifiers, get the bonus income, use the optimized orbital. The Tritium, you can't do that. So that is one downside of the Tritium. It isn't as strong as you may necessarily think. Cruiser battles will be emerging momentarily now. Seems Chronopolis has the upper hand in this situation. Meanwhile, at the north, this north position being some defense is being positioned here by Creature, double annihilators. Does snipe? Oh no, the Constructor survives, so Astral Matrix will have his own defenses. So this one's a bit more neutral. Now this map's pretty small, so you can actually rotate towards the middle and help your teammate out pretty easily. Bit of an air raid here, but there's plenty of anti-air, so this won't be successful from Chrono. And I love this. We have multiple artillery posts. So reading his opponent's strategy of trying to lock this position down and wanting to just have that long-range artillery to saturate that position and prevent him from really hunkering down. He won't reach all of these extractors, but he will, prevent him from just sitting idle in there. Meanwhile, at the south, this is a good army, a lot of archers and brutes, so he can do some good damage versus buildings. Only a couple of smarties for defense, but they're not very potent on their own. This is shaping up to be a really action-packed match. Definitely a change of pace from last game. Eradicator cruisers are being built by Creature. They're great versus these defenses. They have good long range. So Chrono is rotating down. Chrono actually having the most Quanta income by far now, even more than Creature. Bradley in the lead as far as income though, and at a rather decent margin as well. And I don't see any refineries, but it must just be because he has the south position. Though it could get taken out here. This is a great army by Chrono. A lot of Artemis cruisers, a handful of Athenas though, but maybe not enough against this army. Pretty diverse composition though. He has one Zeus cruiser, which is really important. Has the Hades as well. They can take out the frigates very easily, and they're going to be a big threat to him. So many Artemis cruisers, maybe a little bit too many, but there's going to be enough though to take this army out, and this entire position could fall now. He even has amplifiers, but no defenses to consolidate. Middle Trinium still held by Chrono. Has a Falcon in position, so that's a no-fly zone, at least for the Furies. The Marauders can maybe just muscle their way through it, depending on how many there are of them. Some Apollos down here. Marauders looking to pick them off. They're actually wounded too. Calls down an emergency turret. Very futile with that many Artemis cruisers. This is costly. Apollos are really powerful versus the Marauders. They recently got buffed in the last update. Yeah, that was not a good trade there at all by Bradley. Oh my god. He's going to lose this entire area now. Some of his production, I mean, even here, these are all amplifiers, so this is such a rich region to lose. Doesn't have many armories, so not producing many cruisers, going straight for a Dreadnought. Needs to get some engineers to boost that one out, but he's advancing through the middle, takes out the Falcon, taking out all these extractors. It hasn't quite got the Turanium generator just yet, and Creature's looking pretty powerful here as well. He's pushing up north with the Eradicators, has a lot of metal in the bank, but Astral almost has a Savager, but the Savager isn't ideal against the Eradicators. Oh man, Bradley's gonna lose this position. He is still trying to go for the Air Marauders. If he gets 5 of them, you know, if he gets a good army, it'll be okay. Though I have a feeling he'll just suicide them in. Oh, Bradley. Don't do it, man. Yeah, he'll take out a bunch of things, but the Apollos will just shut them out. They're tough, but not that tough. Would also be worth his taking this to redeem to get that income advantage. He's neutralized it at least. Astral Matrix has to make sure he, once again, throws away his army. He has to make sure he waits until he has a Savager before he commits. Has a lot of resources, so may want to throw down more assemblies, or at least just boost it out with his idle engineers. But I think this may just be Bradley losing, because he just doesn't consolidate his Marauders. It's such a common mistake that players make, because they just, or at least today it's been a common mistake, is players, they just sort of send units, like 2 or 3 units at a time, and not wait until he has that critical mass. Using the nullification there by Chrono, well played. But let's see how well Creature does. He doesn't have a Dreadnought on the way. He also is teleporting in reinforcements there with the gateway. With nano transport, I think it's called. Oh, here come the Rampages. But they get demolished. The Furies are in the sky as well. Nice try by Creature to save his teammate, but the Furies were well timed there by Chrono. Chrono's actually ahead in Quanta now. By a significant margin too. So there are capacitors mixed in, or at least I see a couple. One. Scavenger probably won't do that well here. Yeah, if the Rampages were here, they would have been much more successful. GG. Yeah, the Savager... Wow, it actually pulls back. That's not a good idea. Might as well take out as many as you can before you go. He's gonna get taken out by the Eradicators, so let's see if Chrono can defend his teammate. Because he may just get wrecked here. Though he is boosting out a Retributor very quickly. So that needs to be focused down now by Creature. But also he will have to defend himself. That Cruiser army still pretty strong. Creature still putting on the pressure. If he takes out this Dreadnought production, then he'll be in a great spot. Here comes some air units, not a lot of air units. And there is enough Sky Cleansers there to hold these off. Yeah, he must see it now. If he goes for the constructors first, it'll buy some time. Now I don't know which unit has the nano transport. It's possible it may have got taken out by the Savager. He's low on energy. Oh man. There's plenty of martyrs though, so they're gonna do pretty well. Building a pulverizer turret, that's a good move. Putting on the high ground as well. Creature can't afford another transport. Whoa, Creature, finish it off, man. Finish it off. Don't let it complete. And he still has a bit of time left. He's wasting shots on that Blossom Launcher, and now he's actually boosting it too. They are getting picked away though. Creature, man, if he lets this finish, I'll be very upset. I'm not a very neurotic person, but this will do it for me. Using the regenerate, clever move, and now he's bought time for Chronopolis to reinforce his teammate. Oh no. Eradicators, they can't fight this because their energy is too low. Causing an incursion as well. Great work there by Chronopolis. Even uses the sentries as well. The Tributor comes out. Even the main base of Creature isn't looking too healthy. There's still a lot of units in here. Chrono actually floating a lot of dollar bills. Just finished a Dreadnought, that's why. Kronos is on the field. Well, that was a short game. Going straight for the nullification, he may use a nuke. No, he must have spent all of his Quanta on upgrades. I give up on this one. Yeah. Good try though, Creature. I mean, I don't think it would have mattered. Like, Creature, you know, if he took out that the advanced assembly, whoop-de-doo. Chrono's army was gonna hold him off. He's gonna lose his main base anyway. GG. Well, thanks for watching. It was a short game, but it was a nice one. A very action-packed game. So, hopefully you enjoyed the cast. Thanks for watching. My name is Callum McCall. I'm the lead designer for Ashes Escalation, and subscribe to the Stardock YouTube channel for all Ashes content and announcements.